طلع طلع. شبك عليك.
On the 30th of April, 2025, a wall of flame erupted just west of Jerusalem, engulfing Highway 1, the vital link between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, in a choking cloud of black smoke. Drivers abandoned vehicles along the roadside, fleeing on foot as the midday sky darkened tonight. This was no movie set. It was one of the worst wildfires in Israel's history. Within hours, the inferno roared through dry, overgrown vegetation, propelled by gusts exceeding 50 kilometers per hour. The blaze tore across more than 17-kilometer quadrat of forests, farmland, and nature reserves, reducing ancient woodlands in the Jerusalem hills to smoldering ruins. Thick smoke blanketed the capital, triggering high pollution alerts and sending residents scrambling for masks or shelter indoors. Over 10,000 people from at least a dozen villages, including Beitmer, Shesh, Jivat Yaim, Ramat Raziel, Nev Shalom, Beoa, Taus, and Mayo Huron, were ordered out at a moment's notice. Entire neighborhoods were emptied as families gathered only what they could carry. A Tanim psychiatric hospital was evacuated, and 2 patients were initially reported missing in the pandemonium before teams reunited them with staff. Major roads, notably the Jerusalem-Tel Aviv highway, were closed to clear a corridor for emergency crews. Ambulances and rapid response motorcycle units lined the arteries, providing on-the-spot care for victims of smoke inhalation and burns. Medical teams reported more than 20 injuries, with children and the elderly suffering most from the toxic air. More than 160 ground crews, backed by 12 firefighting aircraft and helicopters, waged a desperate fight against the flames. International support arrived in the form of aerial tankers from Italy and Croatia, though pleas for assistance to Greece and Cyprus reportedly went unanswered. Military search and rescue units joined the effort, yet access to the hardest-hit hillsides was hampered by poor visibility and closed roads. Video footage captured the ferocity of the fire, walls of flame racing up slopes, aerial drops of water vaporizing on contact, and vistas of ash-strewn fields where wildlife once thrived. Emergency commanders described the blaze as unpredictable. Each gust could spark a fresh front as dry brush ignited anew. Authorities have emphasized that the fire was likely man-made. Fire and Rescue Commissioner Dedi Simchi confirmed that preliminary findings point to human activity, whether through negligence or deliberate arson remains under investigation. No arrests have been made, and officials have urged restraint. Anyone detained in connection awaits due process. Environmental Protection Minister Tamar Zandberg warned that this event fits a worrying pattern. Rising temperatures and shifting climate patterns across the Mediterranean have created longer, hotter, dry seasons, ideal tinder for catastrophic wildfires. We must adapt our land management and emergency planning, she said, or face these infernos more frequently. Beyond the immediate injuries, thousands endured sleepless nights in cramped temporary shelters and community centers. Volunteers from local councils and NGOs distributed water, blankets, and meals, striving to fend off frost at night and heat by day. Psychological support teams moved among evacuees, treating trauma and anxiety as the realization of property loss set in. Farmers wept over charred fields where citrus groves and vineyards once flourished. Ecologists lamented the destruction of habitat for rare flora and fauna. The Echo Forest, home to golden jackals and endangered birds, lay silent under a layer of ash. As Israel declared a state of national emergency, coordination centers struggled to allocate resources. Fire chiefs appealed to international partners for reinforcements. Logistics officers scrambled to reopen critical routes. Every closed road delayed fire engines and medical convoys. Stationary firefighting units formed defensive lines around infrastructure, from power stations to communications towers, to prevent secondary disasters. In parallel, hospitals braced for waves of patients with respiratory distress. Intensive care wards readied ventilators for the worst cases. Community clinics stayed open late, handing out nebulizers and oxygen kits. By May 2, firefighters had contained the perimeter and brought the main fronts under control. Mop-up operations continued deep into the burn zones, while drones surveyed hotspots too dangerous for ground crews. Air quality alerts remained in force across Jerusalem and surrounding towns. The government swiftly approved $21 million in emergency relief, funds for rebuilding homes, repairing roads, and restoring power lines. Agricultural grants were announced for farmers whose livelihoods were incinerated. Environmental ministries mapped out reforestation plans, prioritizing native species to stabilize soil and absorb carbon. Experts caution that recovery will outlast the headlines. Soil erosion risks landslides on those scarred hillsides. Water sources face contamination from ash runoff. And climate projections warn that without substantial mitigation efforts, such wildfire seasons will only worsen. Have you witnessed the aftermath of this fire, or do you live in an at-risk community? Share your experiences and local preparedness tips in the comments below. If you found this report insightful, please like and share. It helps us keep this critical conversation alive. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay safe.